We've been discussing externalities, one of the 3 times when markets fail or when markets are inefficient without government intervention. We ended that discussion in the previous video with the Coase theorem and a discussion of how property rights are really essential to being able to correct externalities. And that gives us a nice segue into the second one of our 3 times when markets fail without government intervention. And that is in the case of public and common resource goods. These are goods where it's not necessarily as simple as with other goods to assign property rights. So, what is a public good? Economists differentiate between private goods and public goods based on 2 characteristics. One is the good excludable. If it's excludable, it's possible to prevent consumers who haven't paid for it to have access to it. And second, is it rival, which means the good cannot be enjoyed by more than one person at a time. Or alternatively, a definition for rival would be it's something that can be used up, right? So a private good is a good that is both excludable and rival. This is most of the goods that we purchase and consume. These are things like the pizza that's shown on the slide that you can keep someone from having it without paying for it. You typically have to pay for the pizza that you consume, or someone did pay for the pizza that you consume, right? And it can be used up. Once you've taken a bite of this pizza and you've swallowed it, no one else can swallow that same bite of the pizza, right? It can only be enjoyed sure, you can share a whole pizza, but each part of the pizza can only be enjoyed by one person at a time. And the pizza can be used up. So a private good is a good that's both excludable, you can make people pay for it, and it's rival. It can be used up. A public good, on the other hand, is one that's neither excludable nor rival. It can be consumed by many people, and it's difficult to exclude non-payers from consumption. So one example, the picture on the slide here illustrates this example, is public defense, right? National defense. So we have military, most countries in the world have a military that protect the citizens of that country, right? And so think about how this works. Does the military only protect the folks who pay taxes? No. It protects anyone in the country, right? So it's difficult to exclude non-payers from consumption. You wouldn't take, say, my 2-year-old who doesn't pay taxes and shove him to the front lines in a war. If you're protecting the country, you're protecting everyone here, whether they are payers or not. It's non-excludable. And also, it can be consumed by everyone at the same time. The fact that the military is protecting me doesn't mean they're not protecting you. It's not something that gets used up by a few citizens and then can't be used by others, right? So it can be consumed by many. It's difficult to exclude non-payers from consumption. And oftentimes this leads to what's known as the free rider problem. Someone has the ability to receive the benefit of a good without paying for it. So another sort of classic example of a public good is public radio. So if you tune your dial to your public radio station, you will hear public radio. You will hear news, you will hear programs, you will hear things that are provided to you by public radio. And then a couple of times a year, usually in the spring and the fall, these stations will have fund drives where they are encouraging people to contribute to public radio so that they can continue to have the funds that it takes to offer the services of giving you the news and the podcasts and the programs and things that come with public radio. A lot of people give to those things, and when they do, they make public radio possible even for those who don't give. What happens if you don't give during those fund drives? Does it mean now when you turn on your radio to that particular frequency you won't hear anything? No. You're still just as able to hear public radio as the people who did give. You are now a free rider. You are enjoying the benefits of public radio even though you didn't help to pay for it. You're enjoying the benefits of someone else's paying for public radio. And that's a problem that we often see with public goods, which means that these are markets that are not often efficient to be provided by a private company, because it's something that it's hard to get people to pay for, right? Another couple of types of goods are club goods and common resource goods. So we've talked about private goods, which are excludable and rival. We've talked about public goods, which are non-excludable and non-rival. And now we've got a couple of others, combinations of those two characteristics. So club goods are non-rival and excludable. So something like satellite television. You can ask people to pay before they have access to satellites and satellite television. Therefore, it's excludable. But it's non-rival. The fact that I'm watching Channel 36 does not mean my neighbor cannot watch Channel 36, right? I can't use up the satellite television access. And so it's non-rival, but it is excludable. I can be asked to pay for it or else not have access to it. And then the fourth type of good is a common resource good, which is the flip of the club good. It's rival and non-excludable. You can't make people pay to use it, but it can be used up. So a classic example here is a fishery, a large body of water, particularly maybe an ocean that doesn't really belong to anyone. You can't keep people from fishing it, but if everyone fishes and fishes and fishes and fishes, then it's something that can be used up. All the fish can be caught, or can be overcaught, and then they don't have the opportunity to reproduce, and overuse then leads to a depletion of the resource and makes it even harder for everyone else to be able to fish. So there are four types of goods categorized by whether they're rival or excludable. So in the top left box here, we have goods that are rival and excludable. We call those private goods, right? Examples: hamburgers, watches, automobiles. Then in the next box, we have goods that are non-rival but excludable. We call those club goods. Satellite television, country clubs, places that you have to pay to get in, but once you get in, everyone enjoys the same benefits. Then the bottom left-hand box are goods that are rival but non-excludable. We call those common resource goods, such as fisheries, the Alaskan king crab, sharing large popcorn at the movies, roads and beaches that can become congested. In the last box, goods that are non-rival and not excludable are public goods, like street performers, public defense, mosquito abatement.